Hi, my loves. It's your related girl from around the way where we have culture, conversation, and community. And in today's video, I'm coming to you with some quick commentary, very quick commentary about the Just Hilarious situation. Now, last night, Just Hilarious came up on Instagram Live in her do-rag / silk scarf and let us know that she was not feeling how she was being treated. She felt mishandled and she got into the things. Now, you know what? Let me just play a small clip. I'm not going to go crazy because this has already been everywhere. But just in case you didn't see it, I want to get into some of the things that Jess actually talked about.
Not one person comes to my defense at all. Like when I'm not one mother ever with this online shit. Like, should we have to keep playing it? Man, listen, I know one thing. Angela Yee ain't that motherfucking crazy.
Now, how Angela Yee get in it? Because you acting like you was around for that, Jess. You was acting like you was there for when Angela Yee and Charlamagne Lagarde, whatever that man was saying, Angela Yee, remember? I can't remember. Oh, Lil Webby, Angela Yee. You wasn't even there, girl.
Not as crazy as niggas try to make out to be. Nah, it's the reason that lady wanted to leave that show. I feel played with. I'm going to play with niggas. Like, that's just like, come on. I've been quiet a lot. If Jess Hilarious is quiet, it's...
Now, a little bit of a backstory. Jess and Corey were going back and forth for a really long time, and he recently was on a podcast that kind of gained some traction, and he said a couple of things about Loren. He didn't even know the girl's name, but basically he was reiterating what the girlies have been saying down in the comments, what people who still watch The Breakfast Club say about Jess Hilarious, and he's calling her less hilarious. I would play the clip, however, I don't like Corey, so I will not be playing any of his content, anything involving him. I think that he's a misogynist and terrible. He treats women horribly. Would never play his stuff. But he goes on to say, Loren, do your big one. Jess couldn't read the prompts. She ain't know how to read. She was stuttering and humming. And Loren comes in there and she's prepared and she's all of these things. Now, this is the point where Jess is like, well, nobody defended me and blah, blah, blah. Now, a lot of people were speculating that Jess was feeling away when she was clocked out of the Wendy interview, when, Loren has officially become a fourth member of the Breakfast Club. And you could see that there was some issues already brewing. Now, to be quite honest with you, I have not tuned into the Breakfast Club in some time. I feel like, they do a whole bunch of jigabooing and just misinformation. I just don't go with it no more. It's lost this thing for me. Now, I do respect the Breakfast Club. Oh my God. I was trying to keep that in, y'all. I do respect the Breakfast Club for its presence as Black media, and everything like this in the space. Girl, not another sneeze. And so with that regard, there's always going to be a special place for the Breakfast Club, for most of us outside of all of the things that they spew over there. But honestly, this is the most that I feel like we've talked about the Breakfast Club in a long time. I mean, like when Jess got it, the show was a little bit of, oh, she got the show. It was, oh, I don't know who I'm working with. They did a little scandal with that. And right now, this is the most interest that I've had in the Breakfast Club in a really, really long time outside of them interviewing 19 Keys. I don't really check for them. And I think that they understand that drama and this whole ensemble cast breakdown thing works. And this is why we've seen them kind of come before the camera and air it out. It felt like we were in an office meeting. Okay. I was waiting for Michael Scott to just pop out and, do a whole spiel, because it was really kind of like almost as if they were breaking the fourth wall, if you want to, relate it to reality TV, and just really said how she felt. Now I want to get into Jess Hilarious a little bit without tearing her down too much. I don't want to tear her up too much, because she did get pregnant very quickly, which she talked about in her live as something that she wanted to do. Now, I'm not saying like, girl, like you want to expand your family. Absolutely. That is priority for you. And you have to understand that in not all, but most jobs there, as a woman, you pay a price. Now, it's not like you are Cardi B, or I don't want to say Cardi B in the sense of like a superstar, but a rapper even, the Callies of the world, the whoever dream dolls of the world who can go have a baby and, post Fashion Nova paternity things and get back into the studio because you are a solo person. You can move like that, Jess. You were a part of an ensemble cast, very new into the seat. In any job, in any role, it takes at least a year to kind of knock the dust off into that thing and make sure that the glove fits you just right. And you're in a position where not only is it new to you, you're in a relatively new industry. Surely, you understand what it's like to entertain and to be in front of people and to talk. It's not like I can, do things on YouTube is completely different if I go into a studio with a live audience. Not much of a difference because she carries, but you get what I'm saying. There is a small learning curve. Now, if she was, doing her own thing and having her own brand and she decided to have a baby, I feel like, okay, girl, good for you. But you have to understand the situation. She left that job very, very quickly. I am a mother and a mother of two. I love my children down. If you follow me on social media, I love them for real. Hell, if you follow me over here, I love them for real. And I love and I appreciate and respect women and mothers so much. So I'm not saying this to sound, to feed into the patriarchal societal norms, bitch. I'm just keeping it real. If I got to go out on some maternity leave for my regular job, girl, I got to make sure them case notes, them files is together because I don't want Brenda or somebody, snooping around and going through my shit when I'm gone and, all of these things. Like at anybody's job. Come on. In this economy, let's be clear. So there is an aspect of that is just one of those things that is unfortunate as a woman who is in the workforce, let alone the industry, the entertainment industry. She doesn't have the same kind of privileges as, let's just say, again, a rapper does or someone who only entertains in a way. You just got that job, girl. You gave Loren a job. Now, the radio station sounds like they were kind of playing with her. And Charlamagne and DJ Envy, Charlamagne carried it where he was just making jokes and laughing and this, that, and the third. And where's your do-rag at and blah, blah, blah. But Jess was really, really emotional. You could tell she was really impacted by this. Now, when I first watched her live, my initial thought and reaction was, wow, she's really kind of I don't want to say aggressive. I'll just say rough. She's really from Baltimore, masculine even. And her approach, and how she was talking, I'm like, golly, she is rough around the edges, baby. Goodness gracious. But Loren, who comes off like a little softer, a little meeker, a little bit more feminine presenting. And I'm not saying that trying to be shady, y'all. Come on down, damn. You feel what I'm saying? And more importantly, she is prepared. She had this senior producer role. And so she's coming with some facts. She's coming with some background knowledge. She's coming with some footnotes on this motherfucker. Right? And so there are two different people. I don't understand why two women can't coexist in the same space. This is a trick of the enemy. They're talking about they're trying to trick Jess Hilarious out her spot. No, this is the trick of the enemy. They could have very well recognized, okay, they're trying to play us. Let's figure it out. Let's work together. But, Jess came on and said that, Loren was saying a couple of shady things, which could be true. Loren, although seems to be the softer, meeker, milder one because Jess is so and raw. I don't want to say aggressive. I'll just say raw. It's easy to look at Loren and be like, oh, clearly she's the one that's not the problem. But, we don't know how much we would like Loren if Jess was not there. I feel like certain things we need a Jess Hilarious there for. And the dynamics of it all is a little like Jess is very akin to Charlamagne. The interesting thing is Angela Yee, was able to encapsulate the things that Jess has and what Loren has, to me, in my opinion. Now, I have my other opinions of her, but Angela Yee in that role really, really did her thing, where we have two women from two different walks of life, two different industries, competing and fighting and this and that. Like, girl, you did your biggest one, Angela Yee. Now, I ain't been watching Way Up with Angela Yee. I mean, because I could, it was the end of the era. And I feel like they kind of let it play out too long. And here we are fighting over Jess with the mess and Loren, brown girl grinds. Why are we even here? Jess, you left the job too damn soon. Everybody got to go to work, girl. If you want to continue doing your tours, then continue doing your tours. You signed a contract and got pregnant. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not saying that I agree with that. I think that it's so unfortunate that women have to go on maternity leave and come back and deal with the co-workers and all the shit in real life. I think it's terrible. But you know that the stakes were extremely high. And so that's how I feel about you, Jess. You could have handled that a little bit better with, your transition with Loren, talking with her straightforward. But, Loren said that she did. I did tell you this, that, and the third, and da-da-da. She's like, well, this is why I had Eddie be in there with the conversation. Jess can probably play that mess with Charlamagne and DJ Envy, but she's not going to be able to play like that with Loren, because Loren knows her details. Loren knows her facts. Loren is coming prepared. All right. And I think that Loren does an amazing job. She does and, articulates herself in a beautiful way. She's a beautiful girl even. And I like to see her in that role. And I like to see Jess in her role, in her capacity. There's room enough at the table. Okay. There is room enough at the table for us all to eat. Charlamagne was a joke. DJ Envy, tried to play her out like, oh, this is corny, Jess. You shouldn't feel this way. He gets all upset and walks off because, I expect so much from you and this, that, and the third. Like, you can tell they have a real love for each other, a real friendship even. But they were gaslighting her. She was supposed to be a producer. She's acting like the talent. They're low-key throwing shades. She comes back. She's still there. That's not right. And that is a thing that's bigger than all of them that are sitting there. You feel what I'm saying? Charlamagne, Loren, Jess, and Envy. Because they do not own that show. And this is why, so many people talk shit about, YouTubers and new media, this, that, and the third. But sister, you can create a table of your own without having to have this eyes behind a curtain, figuring things out and tinkering things and moving this here and this, that, and the third, and not being, transparent and poking and prodding to get a reaction to therefore up the views. Because let's be clear, nobody's checking for it. How many conversations have we had about the Breakfast Club? Honestly, outside of this just hilarious and Loren thing. Let's see and let's hope if these ladies can really kind of be smarter than the average bear and figure out the players so that way they don't get played. And I want to know whose side you're on. I mean, right now I'm not on anybody's side. I feel like y'all, come on now and understand and recognize the game that you're playing. But I'm curious to know, if you had to choose, who would you choose? Jess or Loren? Okay, or are you comfortable with choosing both? Because again, there's room for everyone. Let me know what you think. Drop down in the comments. As always, I'm sending you much love and much light, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.